Welcome to the Alexandra Wenman show. I'm here with Aldo Raffa, who's a very dear friend of mine, and Aldo is a, psychic, tarot reader, medium, healer, channel, magician, alchemist. What else can we call you, Aldo?
Well, my name means elder, so I like to,
Wise man.
To go with that.
Wise man.
I think you have to be a fool first before you're wise. I've certainly been definitely one of those.
I think you've been around the cosmos, darling, a few times.
Yeah,
around the block.
absolutely.
Amazing. Well, the first thing I want to talk about, because you can't miss them, is Aldo has his own tarot deck. So talk to us first of all about these amazing cards and how they came to be birthed and yes, talk to me. What inspired these?
So, like a lot of these things, the universe kind of, decides, doesn't it? It sort of like creates it. And it was sort of, funny enough, suggested by a client once. They were like, I really can see and feel like, a deck coming together.
It's a big deck. I mean, look at the board.
Yeah, so the deck comes with a board as well, which is based on Metatron's cube. So the deck,
So a man after my own. Can I pull it out?
Of course.
Just a man after my own heart.
Right, let's have a look. Okay, so here is.
Oh, wow!
Yes.
Look at this sacred geometry. Honestly, God, I love this.
So basically, this is Metatron's cube, and the powerful energy. What I love about it, I mean, even if you just put your hands sort of in the center of this sphere, it's really, really strong. So you can use this board for healing, for readings. And it's just a really powerful.
You can sit on it.
Amazing. Absolutely. Have it under your chair.
Yeah.
It's a very powerful. I still haven't really figured out how many different ways you can use this sacred geometry for and with. But I love to incorporate healing and alchemy into every kind of reading and session. So the idea of the tarot deck was to kind of combine tarot and alchemy and a little bit of sacred geometry and put lots of different cultures together. So in the deck it's like you've got a bit of Egypt, we've got the high priestess as as Isis. Yeah, so we've got a real we've got a lot of Roman cultures.
This is very kind of like the Romanesque. Oh, and look at this
Mayan,
Mayan.
So the idea was to kind of bring all these different rhythms and cultures together.
And the colours are amazing as well. I love punchy, poppy colours. This is amazing. How long did it take you to create this?
So, good question. So I collaborated with my uncle and my dad. So it was very high priest energies, kind of got activated.
This trio of wise men.
Yeah, exactly. We kind of felt a bit like the Three Musketeers on this journey because it was a channeling process that kind of came through. My uncle was the artist though, so I didn't paint these cards. Everyone's like, "Oh my God, you're an amazing artist!"
I was going to ask you who the artist was, but it is in the family, right? How gorgeous that all the energy is in the colours.
Absolutely. So my uncle painted the deck, but really the imagery and the artwork kind of got downloaded in a process of probably about a year and a half. So it was a gradual process. The major arcana came first. So the tarot is devised in between minor and major arcana, or major secrets and minor secrets. And the major ones just came through really strongly and kind of really made themselves known. So they were born first, and then it was a process of, well, what are these little minor ones, want to do and say? It's very funny as I talk about the major arcana because they are so powerful. They have such a life. And a rhythm of their own.
So much personality coming through out there, and they'll kick you in the butt if you're not adhering to the message, right? They're like masters of their own, aren't they?
Absolutely. And I just actually got back from Spain, where I was designing a board game with Tiffany Cressara, another lady who is so passionate about the tarot and has written incredible books around the tarot.
She's awesome. If you're watching this video and you want to see some of Tiffany's work, I did an interview with Tiffany. I'll put a link at the bottom of the video because she actually takes us through one of her processes with the tarot, like feeling the cards, and it's really awesome. But these two collaborating is like double the power. It's just Amazing. Anyway, sorry, carry on
So
about
no,
the board
absolutely.
game.
Well, basically, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I decided to create. We decided to create this board game, but what happened was quite interesting. The major arcana cards came to life. We put them all on a board. We decided to put them all on one board, and it's just like creates a whole different energy altogether. And just creating it was amazing because like I'd be stuck on like the emperor, for example, who's quite stubborn, and I couldn't quite turn him around, and he'd be stuck, and I was like, oh my god, everything, it was like, and then death disappeared, like what the hell, where's it gone? And so they do really have their own individual energy, and creating this game, it makes me think of Jumanji,
Yeah, so you're like you're in the game. It's the game of life, right? So you've got the board game here, but then it is like you're journeying, you're actually living it. It's the archetype, really, isn't it?
Absolutely. So to see these major arcanas that kind of got channeled down and painted onto the cards and then put now onto this board, it just is awesome but mad at the same time because it's creating another energy of its own. So what I love is just how the universe kind of birthed this deck and kind of how it's deciding where it's going and how it's working. So I don't really feel, even though we've called it the Raffa Tarot because it's my uncle, my dad, me, so we are we're the three Raffa Musketeers, but don't really feel almost like it is our deck, it's the universe's in a way, because it's really been birthed and channeled from a place of like, even when we talk about it, it's like, oh yeah, that deck.
Not ours, it came through us, but
absolutely. And this same process just happened, has been happening in Spain. I just literally got back yesterday, and all week I was there, like, we weren't really doing anything. It was just holding the space for the universe to just align it all and bring it together. So it's really exciting because I just feel there's a lot of magic in the tarot that people don't know about.
Yeah, there's so many layers to unlock. So with the game, have you got a name for it yet? And are you allowed to divulge anything yet?
Yes.
It's all quite secret.
It is. It's very secret. But what I can say is it's kind of come together, like this. The game is going to be very transformational, and the title, I believe, is all around the transformation of tarot. But we haven't exactly confirmed the name, so I can't exactly say.
You can't divulge.
No. But I really want to. But all I want to say is, watch the space because more is going to be coming up around this, and you don't need to know anything about the tarot too, which is what's cool about it. I think people can get very scared and think, oh my god, I don't know, anything about
It'll
this.
meet you where you're at, right? You know a little or you know a lot, and it will feed into that level of consciousness that you're at. I think when the game comes out, we'll have to get you and Tiff on together and do another interview.
Definitely.
We'll talk about it all then.
Definitely.
So this is a watch this space type thing.
Absolutely.
But in terms of talking about the Raffa Tarot, now this is obviously because it's family and we're talking lineage stuff. Is psychic gifts in your family quite strongly? I kind of get that feeling. So tell us about your gifts and your awakening, I guess, and how you came to be working in this field.
Yeah, good question. So I'm half Italian, half Welsh, which is an interesting kind of mix. And I always like to think of it as quite a sort of like yin-yang in the energies. So on the Welsh side of the family, I come from a line of healers. So we have a lot of healing in the Welsh side. But in the Italian side, we have a lot more psychic energy.
Tarocchi, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there is a belief that tarot, the tarocchi came from Italy. Nobody really knows quite the origin of tarot, which I also love the mystery of. But so Italian side of the family, Welsh side of the family, and it has always run in both sides. But I think really my incarnation is a very interesting one because I feel like it's been to awaken it more and remind, our lineage of how much energy, there is. Because it felt a little bit like it got shut down in the last generation. Life can sometimes do that, fear can sometimes do that, just circumstance can sometimes do that. So I feel like I have been, I'm here to really awaken that. My first experience that I was told, I don't remember it, I said to my mum, like, I'm going to have a sister. I had a dream, I could see her. And her name was Francesca. Yeah, so
you even got the name.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a good psychic. Yeah.
And my mum was like, she thought to herself, like, that's weird, because apparently, like, if she was to have had a daughter, she would have called her Francesca. It was like the name she wanted. And I was like, yeah, I can see her, she's there, you know, and I've been playing with her in the class. I think I was 3. Yeah,
3 years old.
3 years old.
Oh my god.
Playing with a McDonald's toy. Yeah. That's what my folks told me anyway. I was like playing with this McDonald's toy, but that obviously wasn't really cutting it. I think I was physically playing with a McDonald's toy, but I was kind of, you know, on another dimension. Yeah. And 2 weeks later, she finds out she's pregnant. So yeah, that was the first experience. But it wasn't easy growing up because, you know, I would see a lot of things, kind of spooky things. You know, I remember living in this house and a woman had unfortunately hung herself before.
Oh God.
Yeah, before we moved in, and I used to see that. So I was very kind of scared of it, and I didn't like it. So I you know, I wanted to be normal.
As we all
did, yeah.
Fit into the normal box, yeah.
But then I came across this beautiful quote by Carl Jung, you know, and I think he says something along the lines of, to be normal is the ideal aim for the unsuccessful. And I thought, oh, amazing, you know, I really like that.
Time to be extraordinary.
Time to be extraordinary, yeah. So I kind of shut it down, and my aunt was very much into healing and Reiki, and she kind of reminded me or inspired me of the energy when she bought me my first deck of tarot. I think around the age, it was really young, like 13, 14, something like this, and it was a really tiny little tarot deck, you know, and I had no real understanding of how to work with them. But I was like, I know these things, you know, I remember those things, and it kind of just unlocked this energy. But I still shut it down, and I think it wasn't until about 17, 18, it was like, okay, fine, you know, I'm going to honour this because it's coming through, it's channeling through me, and the psychic energy just, it just kept coming up, and I kind of didn't really want to really do these readings, but it was weird. It's like everywhere I would go, you know, people would tell me like, oh, this is going on for me, what do you see? And I'd be like, well, you know, I see this and that, and then it would sometimes get a bit confusing because people would be like, well, who are you talking to? And you know, I you know, sort of like, how did you know this?
There's a fear coming
in. People's fear were coming in, and I think it was mirroring back to me my own fears. And I was very skeptical of this work. Like even when I went into doing readings, I was very skeptical of like, is this really happening? So for a long while, it was a journey of, I need to make sure this is really real.
We all kind of need evidence, don't we?
Yeah.
It's like, all right, well, I know that I need something. We need something tangible or a reference point, I think, a lot of the time. And the wonderful thing is that you can ask for it, right?
Absolutely.
So how did you get that evidence?
Good question. Well, there was a lot of evidence I required, you know. I was like, yeah.
Show me again.
Yeah, I was like, show me again, you know. And it kind of wasn't until I had this very powerful connection with a guide, actually, that gave me a series of visions. And they were just so loud, they were so clear. And it was like I was seeing them as I was seeing you. And I was like, wow, okay. And basically, some of what the visions showed were really, really just undeniably accurate, because in a short space of time, this, you know, all kind of transpired, and it was a weird one because it was a sort of difficult situation, but it was an empowering situation because it was like such hard evidence that I was like, okay, you know, you can't deny this. It's like, can't refuse this, and it was very loud and clear, and I thought, okay, this is real, you know, this really is real, and I can't deny, you know, what's happening now. And it did spook me out, and it spooked the person out too that I told this vision to. Not I don't really want to go too into it because it's a little bit deep, but basically I picked up the phone and said to them what I saw, and they were like, no, completely denied it, and this isn't, no, it doesn't make sense. But then about 3 days later, it was like completely proven, it happened, and it was so, the information, you know, the day, the date, the detail was just, and this guide then was like, you know, are you going to believe me now? And I was like, okay, I trust you, I believe you. You know, it's like a bit like I surrender, thank you. So yeah, that energy guided me. But when I started working with him, I realised this is my guide. He sort of shows himself a little bit like in a hood. He's been with me all along, but it wasn't until I built that almost like rapport up, that trust up, did it feel, okay, yeah, I get this now, you know.
Wow, he's not druidic, is he? I can see him. He's amazing. Wow.
Yeah, he's quite the magician. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Thank you for showing yourself to. Wow. Yeah, he's really cool. Yeah. Oh wow, he's just like. Sorry guys, this is what happens when you're doing a psychic interview. It
is. There's a lot of energies
Welcome
going
to the
on.
interview. So can you share his name?
Yeah, so his name is interesting. I call him Alf, as in like Alfred, short for Alfred, or Alfredo. He's kind of shown it in a few different ways. But
does he have facial hair?
Yeah,
I see him.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got a...
And I see a star here. Yeah, very cool. Very cool. Thank you, Al, for showing up.
Yeah.
For meeting me. We've got a double interview here with Aldo and Alf. Aldo's guide, Al.
Yeah,
oh,
absolutely. I mean, there's many different guides, you know, that we have, don't we? I mean, I work a lot with Egyptian Reiki, which, you know, I have Egyptian Reiki guides, and then there's like, you know, the major, you know, deities such as Sekhem and Isis, Ra, but this particular, you know, guide has been with me since I can forever remember, and I just feel like is a gatekeeper, you know. So just came to a point where he just kept proving me wrong, really. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna listen, because I was very stubborn, you know. I never listened.
Had his work cut out
Yeah,
for
he really did. He really did, you know. I think he still does, to be honest. Yeah.
So when are you gonna get it, Aldo? When are you gonna get it? It's funny because it's really interesting, actually. I'm seeing his cloak as like a deep green. I don't know if he normally shows up like that, but I was gonna wear a different top for this interview, and I just felt I had to keep this on. I'm seeing it's very druidic looking. Like I don't know if it's a Wales connection or what it is, but he's fabulous. I feel very honoured.
Yeah, he usually wears green or purple. Those
Green
are
or
the two.
purple,
The two colours he
yeah.
kind of presents himself as.
So speaking of the purple, let's talk about your healing, because obviously you talked about the Sekhem and you do number of different healings. You've also done Precious Wisdom,
which is amazing.
So honoured to have you there.
Amazing. But Precious Wisdom is wisdom, you know.
It's your wisdom.
It's priceless wisdom. I mean, it's healing, but it's wisdom.
But it just wakes you up to yours, right? And then we've got the symbol, like we're so aligned here with the geometry and the symbolism, the alchemy, and all of that. It's just like all of this is stuff that we both work on, right? And the gold and the white and everything. But you've done. So what else have you done? You do NLP and hypnosis as well.
I do past life regression. I do a lot of things. You know, I'm
a little juggler.
I'm very much like a little magic man, you know, because people are always like, "What do you do?" And I'm always a bit like, I don't know, like...
You've just been Aldo'd, like, seriously, you just come and get Aldo'd.
But, I do, you know, I do NLP, I do past life regression, I do something called connecting you to your guide session, so I help people to connect to their own guide, so it's like meet your own angelic energy, or maybe Druid, if you have that, you know, your own magical guide. And I also do a life between life session, which is just really interesting. Yeah, so powerful. But when people ask me, what do I do? Like, the thing that I've been told here that I'm here on the earth to do is to really help people with the feminine energy, actually, with the emotional energy, because, you know, I'm very clairsentient. You know, for a long time, you know, you wouldn't believe this because I don't shut up now, but for a long time I didn't speak because I would be so sensitive and I'd feel every little thing. So it was very challenging to communicate, you know, and speak my truth. But what I'm told, a lot of the mission here is to help people embrace their feelings, to really connect to feelings, their emotions. So sometimes life can be very difficult, and you know, we can have heavy, challenging situations. But clarity is power. So the message that I was getting is that from when I asked my guy, like, what do I do? He's like, you're here to help people with their emotional energy. You're here to sort of soothe the emotional energy and help them open their heart. And it's kind of interesting because I've had a real challenge with opening up my heart. And obviously, you know, we teach what we're learning. You know, with a lot of the work, and that's why I'm forever learning more, but a lot of the work guides me to do this. So even though I think, right, I'm doing a psychic reading or I'm doing NLP or hypnosis, there's always this underlying current of healing coming in and awakening people to connect to their own stuff.
It's so good and it's so necessary, especially there's so many empaths. Like, I mean, everyone has empathic qualities, but there's so many people like us that have been so sensitive and learned to shut it down and to just pretend to be normal or whatever that is, but to almost deny our inherent gifts. And when you do feel the world like that, it's like, I used to, I think I've said in another one of my videos, I always thought I was an extrovert, but I think I just trained myself to be like that for a long time, to fit in, when actually I think I am actually an extroverted introvert, if there's any such thing as that. It's like sometimes we need to hide away or have our own space and time to process, because when you're an empath, you do tend to feel everything and have a tendency to take on other people's stuff too.
Yes.
So that cleansing and integrating and releasing, well, it's all integration at the end of the day, isn't it? But that processing is really necessary. So how fantastic that you're doing this work now, because it is so needed on the planet. And you're running retreats too, am I right? Are you and Tiffany doing?
We are, again, it's all kind of like, the universe is like, you know, aligning at the moment. So yeah, we are, but it's, actually, what am I saying? We are, there's going to be even more magic coming up. But yeah, we are running retreats down in Cornwall. Cornwall, in lovely Lamorna, Rosemount, magical energy. But there's also plans to be doing some in Spain as well. So it's like all coming together, and more is being created. But currently, yeah, we run 2 retreats every year down in Cornwall. Very magical.
I went and did Tiffany's tarot course, tarot and psychic development course, many moons ago, many years ago, when I was running Prediction magazine. And that Lamorna, Rosemount, is it still in that place?
Yeah.
The most beautiful place. And what's the old
Fogu.
There's an old Fogu. It's really ancient.
Very
and
ancient.
lots of fairy and very potent fairy energy.
You took the words out of my mouth.
Very
strong
fairy energy. I love it. How magical. And then in Spain it will be in Granada,
Granada, yeah. So it's kind of interesting because there's a lot more sun energy there, and it's very interesting. It's quite yin and yang, you know. There's the underground, the underworld energy of Lamorna and Cornwall and Rosemount, and then there's this very, you know, Ra and sun god energy of Spain. So yeah, these 2 polarities are really coming together, which is really interesting. So it's kind of teaching or inspiring people to connect to their inner high priest or high priestess, and their light and their dark. You know, because we are light and dark.
You can't have one without the other, can you? We're all being asked to look at our shadow side at the moment, or to look beneath the surface of the subconscious, you know. And what we call the dark or the shadow, it's just really the unknown. It's mystery, isn't it? And it's like, are you curious? Are you willing to go and look? And, you know, and face what's necessary to face. And we're just shedding more love and more light on it to love ourselves more deeply. That's all it is.
Absolutely.
Don't be afraid of any of this work.
No.
It's so important.
And the magic is where the darkness is. You know, I know people do get very scared, don't they? Because they think, oh God, you know, what is this going to bring up? What's going to happen? But usually it just brings you into a place of awareness and clarity, and it's like, you know, that is power.
And empowerment.
You know, and empowerment. You know, clarity is power. And I think a lot of the time we live in a very unclear way. You know, it's like we can get programmed to live in a way that only sees things this way, you know, or you know, we can't live our truth, or, you know, you've got to be seen and not heard. You know, there's all these different programs, haven't we, that get installed. So when you embrace the dark, it's like you're embracing new templates, you know, new spiritual templates. But actually, awakening to your true purpose and your true gifts and resources. So it's funny you mention about how like a lot of empaths feel things, but they take things on and they don't know what's theirs, because that was a big battle of mine, like massive battle. And I was also told, you're meant to help people with that. And I'm like, really? Me? Help people with that? Because I had such trouble with that, because I would often, feel like really guilty for things, because I felt this and, and I wanted, and it's, if anyone out there is, very sensitive and feeling things, don't feel guilty, if you're feeling things deeply, because I often would feel things on a very personal level. Yeah. It's very easy to take it personally, but that's the illusion. Feel it, name it and claim it, but then detach, step back. Don't let the emotions or the physical world rule you, feel it, but step back from it as well. And it's something I'm teaching massively now.
Yeah. And often when you recognize that the emotion is not yours, you can then hand it back, and then it's like, okay, I got the message. What was it the other night? Aldo's just given me an amazing healing session, and we've just been talking a little bit about stuff going on with me, and I was in bed the other night with my husband next to me, and I was like, oh, why am I feeling all this anxiety? What's this? And then I went, and he was snoring his head off next to me, and I went, oh, it's his. And as soon as I realized, it was like boom, and it just lifted off me, and I was like, oh great, I've got work to do. So it's so interesting. It's like the minute it's not yours and you can discern your own emotions from those of others, you'll often be, you get the lesson or you get the message. And it's often when people need your help as well. It's a great gift to be an empath, to be able to help others or to be able to be of service in that way, as long as you're not taking it on as your own.
Absolutely, absolutely.
For years, I mean, the same thing. I felt really insecure, but I realised it wasn't mine. It was friends around me.
Absolutely, absolutely. Like I'm smiling because I resonate completely. It's like, years I would be like, oh, why am I feeling like this? And it was like, oh, it's not yours, So it's one of the big things I'm here to learn, but I think the big things I'm here to teach. And for years I had some real difficult, journeys with taking on other people's stuff and boundary problems and all this heavy stuff. And it's kind of interesting because, sometimes I like to think we're a bit like diamonds. We have to have these, it's like challenge here and a challenge there, and then it's like, we start like polishing us up. So if anyone out there is watching and they are sort of feeling, oh God, I do that, but I'm not sure, everything has a purpose and everything has a rhythm, and there's a time for everything. But energetically, as I tune into a lot of what's going on now, it's like the time is now, and I think you've said this the last time I saw you. I think the last time I saw you was when you were teaching the precious wisdom, which was just incredible. It was like, I remember this wisdom. It was like, all this amazing sacred stuff.
It blows my mind, this stuff. Like, seriously, who are we? We're just like,
yeah, and I think it's amazing that it's come down now, because I think it's here to help this issue that as empaths we can have, which is to take things on, to react. So, if anyone out there is feeling that, come out of reaction, before you react, just stop, process, discern, because I think that's what I would tell my past self. I didn't do enough of that, so it was a hard lessons I had with learning to trust the process. But I've kind of really surrendered to this whole journey, and I think it's quite interesting, as I said before, that my name means old healer, because it's like, look at this young nubile chap here. I know, it's crazy.
Otherwise,
I know, it's kind of mad, because you look on the surface and you think, it's the same with you, you think, oh, but underneath it, our souls are sacred, they're ancient. It's like lifetimes after life, galaxies.
Yeah.
And I think, if we can just honour that energy, tune into that energy, we can really bring the light into the earth. We can really have the heaven on the earth. And that is what's coming.
That's what it is all about, right? And it's also like, I think every single person is ancient and wise. We're all divine at some level, and it's almost, you can't judge a book by its cover, because some of the younger people coming in are actually the more ancient, wise souls that have been around the block. Like, we've got the rainbow children, the crystal children. There's these new diamond souls coming through, which has just sent me in goosebumps all over my body. And one of the things that a message I got given when I was in France in July was that some of us, now some of you watching will have this as well, some of us who are here as light workers and starseeds have actually gone through 4 human cycles of evolution in one lifetime. So it's been potent and it's been bam, it's like we're clearing karma, we're breaking through barriers and breaking through the old paradigm and our old selves and our old proverbial stuff, and but we're coming out exactly as you said, like these shining diamonds, and many of us now are at the point where we are holders and keepers of this diamond flame, this ancient lineage, but it's not it's a spiritual lineage, not a blood lineage. It's it's a certain path. There's what we call the Melchizedek consciousness that we've been talking about as well.
And I forgot to mention, I am a high priest in the order of Melchizedek. And that energy is very powerful and potent as well, because this is all about honoring the divinity, honoring the divinity within, honoring the soul's tapestry and its truth, and it's funny because that journey of being initiated into that order was very hard for me, actually. I remember when I was being initiated into it, they said to the lady, the lovely lady Maxine, her name is Maxine Foden, who initiated me into it. She said, "You're going to go on a journey," and I was like, "Okay," and it really was, because I felt like Jesus. I had to give up so much. It was like, let go, let go, let go. Like it just cleared all of these almost like layers and levels of reality that just weren't serving and supporting my soul. And that's where, it can be really empowering, but I think, that's where that darkness has to come in. We have to step into the unknown to do that. But I absolutely love the energy, of what's going on in the world right now. And I love the fact that we have got so many light workers, being called, if in a way, almost like employed, A friend of mine and a girl that I taught the Egyptian Reiki to, she's, after being attuned to the energy, she said, "I'm seeing triple digits everywhere." And I'm like, well, let me send you this article. And the article I sent her was, "The universe is employing you," and
it's a call to action, isn't it? It's the same as the time is now message that a lot of channels are bringing through. I also get remember who you are is a recurrent message that with a lot of channel messages. Remember who you are, and then again, the numbers and the 1111s. One of the things that started happening to me in my healings is that I'm seeing, it's like the bloody Matrix. Sorry, not to swear when I'm Australian. That's my excuse all the time when I say Australian. It's okay.
I love it.
Sorry. It's like
I do that when I push in. It's okay, I'm Italian.
I'm Italian. What do we like? But I've been seeing everything in binary code. It's like I can see the number codes, and then during a healing or something, it's like the numbers come down, and then I see this like red flashing glitch or something, and my guys just go pull it out. Pull it out. It's just not, if it's not aligned, it's not aligned, and then we're just seeing it like that.
Yeah. And we really do live in the Matrix, we really do, and it's funny you say that, because I think, my journey has been a bit like exiting the Matrix and then coming back in, and it's like, but we live in a Matrix, and I think this new energy is very 7D, isn't it? It's like 8 sort of dimensional reality that we're moving into, which is, it's a bit like these iPhones I was mentioning, wasn't it, before we did the interview? It's like, everything upgrades, but energetically, spiritually, there's huge upgrades happening now. That are being downloaded.
This conversation is really lifting me out of I feel really, I'm going to pull myself back into my body. I'm like suddenly like sitting here and my hands disappeared. What's going on?
I know
this is like you, Aldo, this magician energy. So talk to us a little bit about the violet flame, and like how did you first discover the violet flame and come to work with it? Because you work with Saint Germain, you're very connected with Merlin. Those sorts of energy, very alchemical, very transmuting. So.
Well, I always loved fire. Not like no, not in that way. Yeah, I know, but it doesn't sound right, does it? No. Luckily, I not in that way, thankfully. But I just love the energy of fire, and I've loved I think probably because I am a fire sign, you know, I'm an Aries, so I love the fast, sort of quick, swift energy that fire can create. And how I discovered the violet flame was kind of interesting, because it was coming to me in meditation, this violet flame. But the lady that I learned the Egyptian Reiki through was also very connected to Saint Germain and the violet flame, and they kind of work hand in hand because they have a very fiery energy. So I work often with healing with Saint Germain, Merlin, but with the fire magic, the fire energy, which burns things quickly.
Very quickly.
Quickly. And what I loved about the violet flame was how Saint Germain kind of presented himself to me and said, you know, here is this flame to work with, and this flame is to cleanse your energy, to take away, because I was picking up a lot of people's stuff, so it actually came to me for my own healing, because I was like a bit of a wreck of taking on too many people's stuff, and this flame just really quickly cleared all the crap. Anxiety got turned into courage, you know, stuff came up and just went really quickly, and I was like, wow, this is ultra fast. So then I began, you know, working with it, and now I teach people the flame, how to work with the flame, and it actually just gets stronger the more you work with it.
You're definitely a violet flame alchemist. Just now before we started the healing, it was like, vroom, oh gosh, there it is. It was like straight in. Whew, that's amazing. You really are. It is that alchemist energy, and it is very fast transformation. Really, really amazing.
Well, I'm all about that, you know. It's funny, you know, because everyone gets very shocked how quickly they transform. You know, I mean, I do these journeys with people, 6-month spiritual journeys, and I'm on this journey with this one lady. She's got a month left, but it's like she said to me the other day, like, I can't stop laughing, but I'm also so freaked out because like my life is so different now in like 5 months. And I'm like, well, you know, I like to work quick, you know, and I think it's that fire Aries energy. I don't like to stick around. It's very magician-like. If anyone knows the tarot, you'll understand what you really mean. The magician's very here and now, you know, he's there and he's but I like to work quickly with people. So it's like, let's create the transformation as quickly as possible. Now, it doesn't obviously work for everyone. Some people need to integrate, but obviously I don't sort of, I'm not saying you don't integrate the energies, but I don't like to waste time. And I feel that because there's so much work to do, I don't really like to work with people for too long. Like, it's like, let's get as much change and transformation and give you the tools, work with it and transform now. And it's really exciting because the fire energy has kicked in massively this year. And I've always, you know, worked with people for transformation, but this year it's like, it's so fast.
It's so quick. Do you work with fire dragons as well? Yeah, I've got dragons around you. Like all your little team are like popping their heads in at the moment.
Yeah. There's a lot of energy, you know, in this space because before you came, I obviously called them all in.
I walk in and there's like sparkles of light going off around him. It's like being in another dimension. You're like, whoa, hello. Amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the cool thing about this work is that we can all, you know, we can all access it, and I think that's the real message. Is now more so than ever. Funny you mentioned portal. It's like the veil is lifting much so now. It's so thin. It's so transparent. We don't have to really go and work at it so much. It's becoming much more accessible. So, you know, to tune into the energy, it's beautiful, and I think a lot of people really want to access it. So if you are out there and you're thinking, I'd like to access the energy, call on the violet flame. You know, you can call on this energy to help you purify your vibration, to lift your vibration, because the flame helps you do that. It helps you cleanse all the crap to get clear. So if you want to call on it, all you have to do is call on Saint Germain and the angels of the violet flame. So you can just intend this process, say angels of the violet fire or the violet flame, come close, calling on Saint Germain, and you can either intend a flame, a violet flame, or see a violet flame in front of you, and just begin to ask your higher self to just release all that wants to be cleared into this flame, just to take away whatever wants to be cleansed and cleared. So just calling on the angels of the violet flame and Saint Germain to be here, to be present, and just support this transformation, this clearing. And just ask or intend the higher self release all negative energies, thought forms, attachments of any kind that want to be released right now. And it might feel a bit like a magnet as the fire just like sucks and saps it out.
It's very potent when you work with it. It's different to when I work with it myself. It's like, oh, okay, thanks, Aldo.
It works quick. It works
Very
quick. And it's as simple as that. You just
Wow.
call on the violet flame of Saint Germain. But the more you call on him, the more present he is. The more, it's like anything, isn't it? You form a relationship.
Yeah, and be grateful to always say thank you at the end.
Absolutely.
Like we mustn't forget that our guides, they work hard to be with us as well, and
Absolutely.
and it's kind of a signal to the universe that yes, please, more, please, thank you, please.
Absolutely. And if we think of, Saint Germain, because often people say, well, who is Saint Germain? Saint Germain was a high priest of Atlantis, but he came through in many lifetimes. So he's a bit of a time traveler. He's been a bit of a magician himself.
Yeah.
So the more you connect with him, the more of that energy you can also hold the space for too. So I recommend every morning and every night, before bed and just as you wake up, just intend or say out loud, please be with me, Saint Germain and the angels of the violet flame. Cleanse, clear, whatever wants to be transmuted now. Because it's an energy of transmutation. There's it's almost like a lot of dark is coming up right now. A lot of pain is coming up to be turned into power, to be transmuted into power.
And it can be intense, right? So stay centered in it and just trust that whatever's coming up to be looked at is coming up because it needs love. It needs to be looked at. It needs to be transmuted.
Absolutely.
Amazing. Thank you, honey.
Thank you.
So Aldo, how can people get hold of you if they'd like a session? Do you do online sessions as well?
I do. So I do sessions via Skype or over the phone or in person here, where I am currently in this lovely portal in London. Yeah, in central London. I have a few different places that I operate from in the city and then more east. And my website is www.aldoraffa.co.uk. So there's all the information on the different services I offer. And my email is psychic.aldo@hotmail.com.
The old Hotmail.
The old Hotmail, yeah, it's proper old school style. But yeah, talking of violet flame, I work so much with it that I even decided to incorporate the violet energy into my business card. Yeah, it's like the violet.
It really is.
Flame. Yeah.
And it's lovely that actual shade of it that you've got incorporated the pink as well, and I love that. But that is when I see the violet flame, I always see it as kind of a softer violet than that. This talks about you. This is like the poof energy. Fantastic. I'm just going to hold this up so that people can see. It might even come up backwards on the video, I'm not sure. But I'm going to share all Aldo's details on here anyway, so you'll be able to see. But thank you so much for talking to me today, my dear boy. I'll give you a hug before we go.
Take care. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and thank you for watching.
Thank you.